Hello to all the Supernatural fans out there. Today's video is going to be on a disc brake system. And this disc brake system is on my old car. So what we're looking at here is my old car. Marcus/Megan bought this car to build into a Supernatural car. And when they bought it, I had the disc brake system for the car. I just never had put it on because I was going to redo the whole front end and so forth. And I was just going to do it all at once. But I told Marcus that, you know, since you guys bought the car, I'll put the disc brake system on. And so I want to go over this little bit of a documentary. Is more or less for me and my dad when we do these cars, because we build about one car a year, and we forget things and until we get into it, and then we're like, oh yeah, now I remember. So now this video will go back and do us justice so we can watch it before we start. So we're going to come up and we're going to talk about the disc brake system here on this car. This has the 8-inch power booster and master cylinder on it. The power booster, which is, I'm going to point out back here, the gold piece sticking off here, that's an 8-inch, and that's the system that was on the car when the Supernatural car had the small block Chevy in it. Okay, so this is all correct. Now, what you're going to realize is if you buy a disc brake system for your car, it's going to have a bracket. I'm going to try to point and hopefully this will come out. That'll come off your power booster back there and master cylinder. It's going to come down, and they want your proportioning valve, which is this big gold thing hanging down here. It'll set up higher. Well, you can't do that on these 8-inch power boosters because your fender's right here. So you basically kind of got to run it back down. And here's the other thing. The power booster on the back side of the nut that goes into that is a 9/16. But coming off your stock rear brake line, because your rear brake line is coming into the back, is a 5/16. And they do not make an adapter. So basically you have to get new fittings and redo some line. And basically it's just kind of a real big pain in the ass. There's just no way of getting around it. So the other thing that we learned the hard way on this car when we did it was and of course I have the tires and wheels back on here because I've been out driving it around, testing everything out. But the calipers, when you get them, there is a right and left side to it. And the instructions that we had never mentioned that. So for future reference, for my dad and myself, and also all of you guys out there that's going to put a disc brake system on the car, you want the bleeder valves on your calipers to be at a 12 o'clock position. That means they should be facing up. We had them at 4 o'clock and we just had nothing but air in the lines, and come to find out we had the calipers reversed. So that is a word to the wise out there, anybody doing this. Make sure your calipers, your bleeder valves are facing upwards. If you're going to a big block car on the Supernatural car, the power booster is a 9-inch. And the 9-inch, I'm going to come back in here. See how that wide that is, or how far it sticks out from the firewall? On a 9-inch won't stick out as far because it's taller and thinner. Now, I don't know. We haven't gotten to it on my car yet, but there might be a slim chance that you can still run that bracket up tall on that. Now, if you're going a Supernatural car, you're going to have a line lock in it, and which I've already got for my car, just once again not installed. But so that might change some things up too. Don't know until I get down that path. I just got back from the car wash with this. So if you see water on the motor and stuff, it's because I cleaned it all off. We had brake fluid everywhere. We had antifreeze everywhere because we put in a new radiator in for Marcus/Megan, and so it's all good now. She's going to stay cool. This radiator here is ranked up to 700 horsepower. All aluminum, really goes in really pretty damn nicely, and I would recommend. I think the brand in it is ECP. I highly recommend these. So far, I'm really loving it. So there's that. Since Megan/Marcus bought this car, The front bumper guards on my car came off, and because those go to Jeff. So Marcus bought new bumper guards. They are installed. I did those last week, and it's raining out here. I don't know where you guys live, but for the month of May and stuff, it's just been raining nonstop. So it's raining. I'm going to try to jump out here real quick without getting the camera wet. But there is the exhaust bin ran and the rear bumper guards. So those are all installed. The exhaust car sounds so much better. When Marcus bought this car from me, coming down here, or Megan, I'm sorry, I don't know who actually owns this car. I think it's Megan. But there's the radio. Marcus came down last week and started installing it, and we played with the speaker, and works just fine. And as you see, this thing's in real crappy, and it bothers Marcus, it bothers me, but this is the way it is on the original Supernatural car. So of course the ashtray's out because, you know, we were pulling out, and there's wiring hanging down because we were playing with some stuff, or Marcus was. I was working on the brake system. So anyway, this is my old car. My new car, we'll come out of here, is sitting right here, and you're going to see tons of stuff stuck on it. And inside the car, those are new parts for the car. You're going to notice here that it has now the tires and wheels. I don't have the center caps on because I'm going to pull the rear end out. There's a blanket on the fender and stuff. But the car now has tires and wheels on it, except for, kind of come over here, it has it on the front, but it doesn't have it on the rear. And the reason it's not on the rear is because US Wheel, when they box these, they are giving me a 4.5-inch bolt pattern, and you need a 4 3/4. So when I got the first one, it didn't fit. Called them up. They're like, okay, we'll get you another one out. They sent another one out, and I got down here yesterday, put it on, and it's a 4.5-inch bolt pattern. But on the box, it says it's a 4 3/4. Something else I want to talk to about is tires. Tires on the original car in the early seasons had BF Goodrich on it. And then the car, when they put the 502 big block in it, they put a set of Firestone, what are they, Indy 500 Firehawks on it. And they don't make those tires anymore. So what I've done is, now the car still has BF Goodrich on it, and when you see that on the show, that is the stunt car, okay? And you'll see the exhausts run different, and there's things that when you look at the car, if you really pay attention to it, you know if they're using the hero car or not. But anyway, I'm now running, I went with a cheaper tire, and because with this 502 big block in it, it's going to have a pause traction. These things are just, it's a tire shredder, guys, and I just don't believe in putting real expensive tires on a car just to have them go bald real quick for me and my lead foot. So what I'm running now on the car is a Cooper GT, same size and everything. It's got a pretty badass looking Cobra on it. I don't know, I just like it. But I've actually heard from my tire guy and everything that mounts and bounces my tires, and he sells these tires, and he said these are actually really, really damn good tire. So that makes me feel good. The front of the car, I'm still running Coopers on it, same ones, the GTs, everything's the same. But on the Hero car, it's got a set of Marshall tires on it. And Marshall tires are, basically it was like a Walmart tire, and they were really cheap, and obviously they don't make those anymore. So I wasn't even going to try to match it up. Jeff just told me that, and this is Jeff Budnick, tells me he just finds the correct size tires and he just puts them on. He doesn't care, you know, what it is. He just puts them on the car as long as they're the same size and everything. So all I've done to my car so far is put on 3 tires and wheels. Lots of boxes, brake system, shocks, just lots and lots of stuff being piled up for this car and in the back and stuff. So hopefully I'll get to work on this car. Going to try to fix some exhaust leaks, put a new carburetor on it, brake system, whole new front end. This box over here, this big tall box that you see right here, this is actually my Hotchkiss suspension. So I'm very, very excited about getting that. That's front and rear. A lot of money right there in that box, but you know, it's really going to make that car really perform, especially with that 502 big block, you know. And they make different 502 big blocks. That's something else I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about. On the motor that's in the Supernatural Hero car today is a 502 big block that puts out 502 horsepower. And it's almost like 600 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheels. A real beast. Now you can get a 502 with like 450 horsepower, and they rated them differently. I'm going with the 502 horsepower motor. So everything that's done on the original Hero car, I am going to do, except for they run a Holley carburetor. I'm not a fan of Holley carburetors, never have been. But I am going to run a Demon carburetor. I've heard nothing but good things about the Demon. And, you know, come on, let's face it, a Demon carburetor on a Supernatural car, it just kind of goes together, doesn't it? So, and then the other thing I do not like, this is just a stock distributor back here, but I will run the MSD. I'm an MSD guy. The show car is a Mallory. I am not a fan of the Mallory at all. Either is my dad. We just think they're complete junk. But run what you like, you know. But the cars that I build will be, you know, what I like on it, but it'll still be Supernatural. What I'm going to call Supernatural correctness. One, you're never going to see the carburetor because the air cleaner is going to be on it. And two, the distributor back there it's red on the MSD, very similar to the Mallory, so I consider that okay. The exhaust on the big block car, I had one of my buddies, Eric, asked me, what did they run on the big block car? Just stock manifolds. They did not run headers on the 502 big block. So mine will have just the stock manifolds on it too. So there's that. I do want to go back to a little bit on the tires and wheels. I want you guys to always check your wheels to your car, because obviously US Wheel / Summit has a bad time of sending out the wrong wheels. So I called up Summit on the first time on this, and this is going to be just a little bit of a bitch session, and you're going to hear my points and views on this. They sent me the wrong wheel, not once now, but twice. But that's not in my defense against Summit. That's not Summit's fault, because they're just selling US Wheels product. Okay, this is where I want to bitch about it. This car was not here when I had these mounted and balanced, and so when I brought them down to have that done, they didn't fit. So I called up Summit and I said, hey guys, you sent me a wrong wheel. You sent me a 4.5 instead of a 4 3/4. Summit said, yeah, we'll take care of that. We'll get it swapped out. I said, well, listen, I had these, you know, mounted, balanced, cost me money, new valve stems, and now that's out of my pocket. I said, you guys going to reimburse me for that? They said no. That's not their policy. This is where I get a little peeved off about it, okay? One, I checked my boxes to make sure they were the correct writing on it. And I'm going to show you that, so you know I'm not one line. I'm never going to lie about anything. And I say this stuff to protect you guys that are going to be buying these. Let me see if I can turn this around. I know my box is open on the other end, but we're going to be all right. Okay, we're going to come over here. Slide this here. This is the box. It's a 5 by 4 3/4. That means 5 lug nuts, and the bolt pattern's 4 3/4. It's a 15 by 8. This is my rear wheel, and it said that on my other boxes. So to me, they should fit. It's not my responsibility, because I'm paying, you know, pretty good money for these wheels. Somebody else needs to do their job, but apparently somebody doesn't. Well, my thing is this: it's not really Summit's fault, because these are a US wheel and Summit's just selling them. But to me, Summit should stand behind their product and say, oh yeah, we sent you guys the wrong stuff, even though it wasn't our fault. We're going to, you know, either give you a $20 credit, whatever. And it's actually probably a little bit more than $20 time you talk about mount, balance, new valve stem, and now to go get the tire unmounted. But and then when the new one comes in, I got to mount. So it's going to be a little bit of money. It's not about the money, guys. I don't care about the $20, $30. What I'm bitching about is that they're not standing behind it. Okay? Because all they have to do is call up US Wheel, and US Wheel is going to take care of them. you know, because it's really US Will's fault. But because they refuse to stand behind their product, because if they don't stand behind it on this, what else are they not going to stand behind it on it? I'm done doing business with Summit. Once I get my other wheel, I'm done with Summit, okay? Now, I will never, ever, ever buy anything from Summit. If I am building a car in the future, and you guys are buying parts and you send it to me to put on the car, and if it comes in a Summit box, I will not put it on the car. I'm just letting you guys know. I will send it back to you. I refuse to use anything with Summit, okay? And yeah, I know it's only boiling down to $20, $40, me being pissed off, but I truly believe in standing behind your customers. And apparently when they do that, in my eyes, they don't value me. So all my business now is going over to Jake's. And if someone ever wants to listen to this, they just lost out on a $10,000 motor that I was going to buy from them. And I will never, ever use them on anything. I know all before I always said, oh, buy from these guys. Now it's no longer. So that's my little bit of a bitch session. But I believe in, you know, I stand behind my customers when I do something. And if something happens and it's my fault, you know, I stand behind it. So I expect to be treated that way because I'm obviously giving these guys a lot of money. And people give me a lot of money when I build these cars. So that's the way business should be done. So anyway, that's the end of the bitch session. Here is Megan's car, or my old car, and back in the shop. And I've actually driven this car more than Megan now, and I feel really, really bad about it. But she's getting it back this weekend. We've got the brakes all done. This thing drives and stops so awesome, so awesome. So Megan, I'm sorry for having the car for so long, but you know the instructions on these things that you get them all. And this is something else I want to let you guys know. The braking system, it does not matter where you buy it from, what company. It is all the same. The only difference is companies stamp their logo on it, okay? So if it's the right stuff, if it's CPP, if it's whatever, it's all the same. So just know that. So anyway, there's the video. I hope you guys got a little bit of lesson, and sorry about the rant, but I'm going to tell you guys not to buy parts from Summit. I will not put Summit parts on my car or any other car that I build. So there you have it. If you guys have questions, you know how to get a hold of me, and I'll talk to you all soon. I hope you all have a good weekend, and take care, and until next time, bye.